Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the low iodine diet that is a requirement before thyroid cancer treatment. Depending on how long you do the diet will probably depend on what your doctor says. But I had to do the diet I started the diet 2 weeks before treatment started. My treatment started on February 27th and I started the diet on February 12th. And my diet runs through March 3rd. So the low iodine diet is not really fun. It was a bit of a pain. You can't just go into the grocery store, pick up what you want off the shelf, and then go home and eat it. You have to look at the labels of everything. You're limited to a certain amount of meat per day. So it can be a little bit of a hassle. So I have taken pictures of everything that I had throughout the diet, and I'm going to put them together for you to show you what I had. I'll try to tell you a little bit about what's in each thing, and hopefully it'll help you if you are about to start the diet. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I hope you enjoy this. So this is the first meal that I had on the diet. I don't eat breakfast, so this was my lunch for the day. And it's just a salad, lettuce, tomatoes, onion, and a dressing that we got out of like a cookbook, and a piece of grilled chicken that I just threw a bunch of spices in. None of this has salt in it except for iodine-free salt. It was really good, and I enjoyed it and thought that the diet was getting off to a great start. So I love to cook hobo dinners on a regular basis, and it's just a bunch of ingredients that you stick together in full, stick it in the oven, cook it. So I just tweaked my recipe. I just didn't put my regular salt in it, and it's just chicken with some spices that don't have salt in it, and potatoes that I cut up, some paprika, just some Mrs. Dash, and it was really good. So the next set of pictures is a meal that someone generously made for me. And the first part of the meal is this salad. It was a great mix of lettuce, some orange peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers. And it came with a dressing that she had made out of the Thyroid cookbook. It was very, very good. I was really glad to have this for one of my meals. So chicken is my favorite food. I usually eat it several times a week. This was one of the other pieces of the meal that the lady brought to me. She just threw a bunch of spices on it, and it was grilled, and it was really, really good. She also brought me a humongous loaf of honey wheat bread that was so good. I just cut it up and had it with my supper. I really enjoyed having this. It was more of a filler, and it made me feel like I was full, even though I was eating salad and other items that generally don't fill me up. So I was really happy to have this bread. The last part of the meal that she brought me was meatballs and sauce with pasta, and it was so good. It was another recipe that came out of the Thyroid cookbook. I was so excited because I love spaghetti as much as I love chicken, so this was awesome to have for one of my meals during the diet. So this was part of the other meal that was given to me. I just added a piece of grilled chicken to it. Again, in the pan, I just added some spices, no iodine, salt, a little bit of olive oil, grilled the chicken, and then I cut it up and put it in the bowl with the salad and tossed it with some dressing that I got out of the Thyroid cookbook. So this was one of my favorite meals throughout the whole diet. I had a slice of the honey wheat bread. My mama had brought me some meat over that I could freeze and then take out when needed. And so that was the chicken, and it was just marinated. I grilled it in a grill pan. Then my husband made some potatoes. He sliced up some potatoes, added some onion, non-iodized salt, and pepper, and it was a super, super good meal. So this meal was actually a little bit of fun. So the hamburger patty was one of the frozen pieces of meat that my mama brought to me. It was really good meat. The green beans were to die for, as well as the rice. But the mustard that is on the hamburger patty was a recipe that I got out of the Thyroid cookbook, and it was horrific. It was too spicy. I couldn't eat it, and it burned my stomach for probably a couple hours. I tried to eat it, but it just didn't work. So I ended up fixing me something else to go with the green beans and the rice. Other than that, this meal was really good. This was another meal that my mama brought to me, and it was chicken noodle soup. It was so good. I don't know what she put in it because it's not something that I've ever fixed, but I do know that it was LID safe and that there was no iodized salt used in this recipe. This wasn't really a meal, but it was more of an addition to a salad that I was going to have later. I took some of the LID safe bread that was made for me, and I cut it up in cubes, put it in a Ziploc bag, mixed some olive oil, non-iodized salt, garlic powder, and onion powder, and shook it up, and I laid it flat on the tinfoil, stuck it in the oven, and cooked it, and I made myself some croutons for my salad. Here's another super yummy meal. This is some more of the green beans and rice that my mama brought me. I know that everything that she fixed was LID safe. No iodized salt was used in any of the recipes. And this was also some grilled chicken that she brought that I stuck in a frying pan and I grilled it up, and super yummy. This was just a snack I had. It was just a bunch of fruit that I cut up and put in a bowl. And normally in this circumstance, I would eat some cinnamon and sugar chips with it, but the brand that I like was not safe, and there were no other brands to get. All of them had salt in them, and that's not something that you're allowed to have on the low iodine diet, so I just ate with a spoon. Here's another snack that I ate while on the diet. This was some candied pecans my mama made for me. I don't know what she puts in them, but they taste like heaven. Cinnamon and sugar, I know for sure, but I'm not really sure what else. But oh my gosh, they're so good. And I think I ate 2 huge bags of these while on the diet. So I love chicken just about any way I can get it, and this was chicken salad with no mayonnaise because mayonnaise is on the list of things you can't have. But it was LID safe bread, and it was so, so yummy. This was another one of my favorite meals. I think I had this several times while on the diet, but it was just some of the meat that my mama had brought me that I took out of the freezer, grilled it up in a pan, added a little bit of non-iodized salt to it, and then those potatoes again that my husband made with the onions, onion powder, and garlic powder, and it was so, so yummy. So this meal was the only meal throughout the whole diet that I actually spit out and threw away. It was a recipe that I got out of the Thyroid cookbook, and it was bow tie pasta with some chicken, and then it had a lemon sauce, but it was really, really disgusting. It also called for dry sherry, which I normally enjoy cooking with, but I think the combination of the amount of lemon juice and the dry sherry was just so overpowering, and I couldn't eat it, so I had to throw it away. So after I threw out the previous meal, I needed something to eat for supper, so I just pulled some chicken out of the freezer that my mama had brought for me, thawed it out real quick, and then heated up some green beans, and it was super yummy. So spaghetti is another one of my favorite meals, and this was a sauce that my mama made for me. She used no salt tomato sauce, and then she added ground beef and some green peppers, and I added a little bit of non-iodized salt to it, and then I just cooked my own noodles. So this is the salad that I had where I added my croutons to it. It was grilled chicken again with just a bunch of spices that I threw in the pan with some olive oil. The salad was just lettuce, tomatoes. I think I put some red pepper in there, and then the croutons, and then the dressing that I got from the Thyroid cookbook. So this was my mama's take on the failed recipe that I had earlier in the diet. It was just spaghetti noodles with the chicken, some olive oil, garlic, and onion, and it was so good. I had this for a few different meals. And here was another snack. It was just some homemade salsa, tomatoes, red onion, white onion, jalapeno, and a little bit of non-iodized salt. And then these chips I got from the grocery store had no salt on them. They were not the best, but they worked for what I needed. So I had a lot of pasta and spaghetti while I was on this diet. It's easy to fix. This was a recipe that I got out of the Thyroid cookbook, and I just used no salt, tomato sauce, added some ground beef, some spices, and it was really, really good. I was pleasantly surprised. This was another recipe that I got out of the Thyroid cookbook. It was the chicken and orzo pasta. It was really good. It was easy to fix. The only thing that I think that it needed when I got done fixing it was some non-iodized salt. So I added that to the recipe, and it was really good after that. This was another really good meal that my mama had fixed for me. She cooked green beans with potatoes in a pot, and then she fixed some fried chicken, which is one of my favorite meals. This was just a recipe that we got out of a magazine several years ago, and that it was tweaked to fit the guidelines of the LID diet. My mama made this for me, and it was potatoes, ground beef, no salt, tomato sauce for the sauce, and it was so good. It's probably not a surprise that I'm having spaghetti again. So this was the same recipe that I had before that I got out of the Thyroid cookbook. No salt added, tomato sauce with ground beef and some spices, and I had this several times. This is another snack I had. It's just popcorn. We bought loose popcorn kernels and cooked them in a pot with some olive oil, and then I added some non-iodized salt to it. I love to eat tomatoes, and when I eat tomato slices, I love to put pepper and salt on it. But because you're not allowed to have salt during the diet, I just substituted non-iodized salt for regular salt, and I couldn't even tell a difference. This was another meal that my mama had brought to me. This was some of the chicken that she had brought to me earlier in the diet that I had frozen, and I just took out as needed. Cooked it in the grill pan, added a little bit of non-iodized salt, and then heated up the green beans and the potatoes that she had also made, and I added some non-iodized salt and pepper to that as well, and it was really good.